Hey guys, welcome back to this video. This is sponsored by Element. Go to drinklmnt.com/AJCat330. They have a brand new flavor, lemonade, and it's my favorite flavor by far. If you guys travel the way that I do, if you ride dirt bikes often, like I do, if you're a bike, yes, bikes. If you're wanting to operate at a high level, you need to sleep well and you need to hydrate well. And the only way to do it is to find a good electrolyte powder. Element is the best that I've found yet in my 15 years of being pro. It's got everything you need, nothing you don't. A lot of sodium so you don't cramp, which is super important. No sugar, which is nice. Go to drinklmnt.com/AJCat330 to try 8 flavors for free with your order. Try lemonade, it's my favorite flavor at the moment. Millie, do you like Element? Do you want to try some? Did you get any? Okay, enjoy the video, guys.
We're in England. So the dirt here, I don't know, have you ridden in the US before?
No, but I went out there.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been out there.
The dirt was a bit untrustworthy this morning. It's actually getting quite a bit better now. So this rut inside, getting a little bit rough on the entry, which is fun. The big thing to watch out for here is just the very first third of the corner, because that rut gives way, something happened. Did you blow it out? Who's the culprit? Okay, so the way I want to do this, I'm going to let you hit it a few times without saying anything at all. So hit it how you normally would, and then I'll see if there's anything we can start to correct. Came in a little too fast, I mean, if anything, because you could see where he blew out the first part of the corner. That was some really good entry speed. Maybe knees came forward a little bit when he did hit the brakes. He hit the brakes super aggressive, a lot of front. Just to preface as well, not that you couldn't just tell, Zane, how old is Zane? Do we know? So that was better. He sat in the first pocket that time, which gave him actual traction. And then that time he blew out over here instead of over there. I think at his age, at his speed, he just has to learn how to respect the rut for what it is. So each one has got better. That one was even better. Sat and actually got some hold and maintained throttle through. For a rider this caliber, I'll ask a lot of questions and just try to gauge his feel, see which one he thinks was the best. Which one, so you did 3, which of the 3 were you most happy with?
Probably the third one.
Third one, agree. So first one you came in a little too hot and you kind of blew out the first part.
Yeah.
Second one you found the sweet spot of where to sit. You kind of were sitting right in the first part of the berm, which I think was working, that was working pretty good. I'd be curious to see what happens if you stand till here instead. The reason you blew here and you almost did the third time too, you cannot lean this that much. So this is a situation I talked a little bit yesterday about how Jet will let that bike lean underneath him a lot and he doesn't take the risk of crazy lean angle. You were definitely starting to lean a little bit too much with the bike, borderline, because this does not have much hold at all. Even on a 125, you could blow this out at any given second. So I would say try to be a bit more upright like you were working on yesterday so that you could push the bike down with your hips a little bit more underneath you. So you have a little bit more straight arm on the inside, a little bit more bend on the outside, just a little bit. But the way that's gonna happen is the hips getting that bike to lean, not forcing it down with your arms. So maybe next one, take like 10% off the speed just for a few through so I could see. Stand until here. And when you do sit, just try to be upright with a little bit more of the bike under you. At your speed, what you always want to try to do is just experiment with different things and get to know the bike. What that does is it creates bike skill, right? When I trained with Jet and Hunter all the time, it was constantly wheelies, nose wheelies, playing around doing this, like figure 8 type of stuff. You name it, we were just exploring and experimenting with different ideas and different concepts. Okay, interesting. So he even went feet on the pegs that time, which I didn't necessarily even need him to do that. But I'd be curious with the stopwatch from tall grass at the beginning of the entry to take off of that step up. I'd be very, very curious. Maybe you could even do that on like when you're editing. Because what that was is it was a little bit less charge coming in, so it was less aggressive braking, but it was a lot more roll speed at the first part of the turn. To me, that looks like something that you could do for 30 minutes straight, as opposed to where the other ones looked borderline like Hail Mary attempts.
We'll ramp up speed a little bit.
I mean, call me crazy, but I think those are faster. It's very deceiving because the first set that before I talked to him looked really quick, but he was kind of stuffing the first part of the turn because he was braking too hard. Yeah. Where those ones, I didn't even tell him to get off the brakes earlier. I just said stand deeper. But what he did is he automatically got off the brakes earlier to stand deeper. And right. Yeah, I think when you're standing, it just allows more creativity too. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, really nice. Really nice. Very curious to see if that were on the stopwatch what that looks like. But
it looks smoother, which also makes it look a bit slower, but I think it is faster.
yeah. Yeah. Well, let's see what he says.
That felt well smoother.
Oh, a million times smoother. Now, what if you were to guess which one's faster, which would you say? Because we don't know. We were just standing here eyeing it up. I had my guess, but
Second one, I think.
first three or second three?
Oh, second three.
Second three, okay. So there was a few, and what's interesting is all I really told you to do was stand deeper, right? But what that did is a couple of things. One, you got off the rear brakes way earlier, right? Did you even do that consciously, or did you just not even think about that?
Didn't think about it.
When you sat, you stuffed the brakes right before you sat. And that was part of the reason you kept blowing the first part of the turn out. You were just stuffing the brakes. And then once you got off the brakes earlier, and because you were standing, you then started opening the turn up even more. You were able to kind of get creative and come from out to in. And my guess, if we had a radar gun, you were going a few miles an hour faster right here, right? And I know I use Jet a lot as the reference, but Jet is just such a good example. He carries such good mid-corner speed and exit speed out of the corner because of what he does here. And that is two things: stand up deep and get off that rear brake earlier than what you would think. It feels slower, so in your head, it's gonna be tricky because when you try to go fast, it's gonna look like those first three, right? Drive in, get the brake like this because you're braking so hard, and then slam into the beginning. It looks fast and it sounds fast and it feels fast. But then when you do the last couple, I was like, holy crap. They all said the same thing too. It looked like you could do it a million times in a row. You were actually so comfortable with a little bit less lean angle that you were able to keep your inside foot on. I didn't even tell you to do that. You just felt comfortable doing it because you weren't bonsaiing leaning with the bike. Yeah, I can't make that much better. Can't make that much better. Pretty good. What do we rate it in the comments below? Does it look as fast on video as it does in person? Yeah, there's not much more I could do to make that better. I mean, if you did that, the hard part is when you get in a race, it's hard to ride that way, isn't it?
Sure.
So that's why I was stressing it all day yesterday. You have to drill that in. And I was watching you a little tiny bit before we came out here, and you want to twist that throttle and you want to get into race mode, right? So you just have to keep drilling in the idea of both feet on, that posture, momentum, off rear brakes early, and it feels slow. So you have to just remind yourself that, okay, this isn't slow. And what I told Dad is I said, get a radar gun or get a stopwatch for certain sections, so that way it gives you both peace of mind and knowing that, okay, it is equally as fast or it is faster.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to revert back to your old habit because the other way feels faster. So you'll trick yourself and you'll go back to the old way. And people watching and listening, same exact, it doesn't have to be super high level rider like Zane. It could be at any level. It feels faster to do it kind of the old school way and a little bit sloppier, so to speak. So it's tough to stick to that habit. All right, beautiful. This rut's sweet now. I kind of want to session it, but I don't want to ride on, not at least in this video, because I'll make myself look bad. Okay, next video will be tight right hand rut. So this was more of a sweeping left hand rut, a little bit more open. Subscribe. Next video with Zane will be tight, loose, right, and then switch back to left. Pretty cool section. Okay. Go subscribe to the app. Toodles.